Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back into DaBearsDen, Den, an NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex, here today to discuss Ben Johnson or Mike McCarthy, who is the right fit for the Chicago Bears. I've already recorded this video and the audio was corrupted, so I'm doing it again, but I hope to hit the same points that I hit in the first time. So both of these candidates, they really seem like they are the two finalists for the Bears, and I am in the boat where I am fine with either one. I am fine with either one, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to break it down. Let's start with Mike McCarthy, right? 18 years of head coaching experience. He started in 2006 in Green Bay. Us Bears fans know what he did when he was there at Green Bay. He dominated the NFC North. And in his 18 years of head coaching, he only has 5 losing seasons. And this year, you can kind of like write it off, I guess, because Dak Prescott got hurt, Parsons got hurt. They had a ton of injuries in Dallas, and they finished 7-10, right? But Super Bowl champion, he has an 11-11 playoff record, which to some might sound solid and others might not sound great. So take that how you will. 11-11 in the playoffs, has reached multiple NFC championship games, and some of the flack that he gets online that I see from like the Dallas haters is that he didn't really get anywhere in the playoffs after winning 12 games 3 straight seasons in a row. And I attest that more to Dak Prescott. I think that Dak is a quarterback that has proven that when it comes to the playoffs, he can't get it done. And Mike has proven in the past that, he can win playoff games, right? He's won a Super Bowl, multiple NFC championship appearances, like I've said, so on and so forth. So I think that with the right quarterback, in this situation, Caleb Williams, Mike would be able to once again reach the top. I think he'd be a great candidate. I think that, having a head coach come in and one that has been coaching for nearly 2 decades now, has a bunch of experience, one that has coached Aaron Rodgers, who Caleb Williams grew up idolizing, modeled his game after. I think that's something that is very important. I think they'd be able to mesh well, and I think Mike would be able to design an offense around Caleb, considering that he's really worked with a quarterback for years and won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that is a lot like Caleb Williams, right? So I think that Mike would be a fantastic hire. I think that the Bears kind of, interviewing him in person, and there's a report that they went out to dinner. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if that is true, that definitely means something, right? And I think that he is a clear favorite for the Bears, and I would not be mad if he were to be the hire. And with Dallas, right, his first year they were 6-10, and then 3 straight years after that they won 12 games. So he got in there, he cleaned up the team, right, cleaned up the roster, got some new guys in, drafted well, signed some good guys, and turned that program around really, really quickly. And one of the great things about Mike that we've heard from the media and other coaches and stuff is that he can build a great staff. And I think that the Bears would be really, really good, really, really quickly if he were able to design an offense for Caleb Williams, and maybe Mike Zimmer follows him to Chicago. I think that we'd have a really solid defense under Mike Zimmer, and the offense would be really great as well. And he would clean up a lot of the BS, right? So I think that Mike McCarthy would be a great head coaching candidate. And on the other side of it is Ben Johnson, right? And, Ben Johnson has kind of had a bunch of different offensive coaching experience. In 2020, 2021, he was the tight ends coach at Detroit. And in the last 3 years, he's been offensive coordinator where they went 9-8, 12-5, and then 15-2. So team has shown great improvement. And one of the great things about Ben Johnson is that throughout his time as OC in Detroit, Lions have been top 5 in pretty much every single offensive statistic. And that's something that's really, really important, and something that I would just, love to see in Chicago, right? Some of the other experience he's had was all with the Miami Dolphins from 2012 to 2018. He was their wide receivers coach. He was the assistant wide receivers coach, assistant quarterbacks coach, assistant tight ends coach, things like that. So he's really kind of coached all the way around offense. And I think that's an important kind of amount of experience to have, because he can coach up each of the positions well. He knows exactly what he wants from each specific position group. And so I think that makes him a very attractive candidate. I think that, us Bears fans, as we've watched them play Detroit over the past couple of years, or if we've watched Detroit in the playoffs or whatever, I see a very well coached offense. I don't see a lot of stupid penalties. I don't see illegal shifts. I don't see holdings. I don't see false starts, because they built from the trenches, but he coaches the players very, very well. They are in the correct headspace. He coaches them thoroughly throughout the week, and they don't overlook any opponent. We see that, and perhaps it's more of a Dan Campbell thing, but Ben Johnson's been in this environment for multiple years now, right? So they will not overlook opponents, and they will not just coach to not lose, right? They will coach to win the game. They will keep the foot on the gas, and so they will eliminate their opponents by winning by 20 points, 25 points, 30 points. They won't waste time, and they will finish the games strong. And the Lions rarely beat themselves, right? I think that's partially a testament to Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, but also Ben Johnson, right? The offense is rarely beating themselves, and he trusts his players. He trusts the players to go and get it done. We saw it in the playoff game last year against the Rams. It was like third down or something. They needed a first down to win the game. They're up 1 point, and Ben Johnson calls a pass play to Jared Goff when I think the Rams had no timeouts left, or they had one timeout left and they were going to have to use it. They call a pass play to get the first down, and they get it because he trusts his players. Even this year against, I think it was the Houston game, where Jared Goff threw 5 picks, he wasn't changing up the offense in the middle of the game because Jared Goff was having a rough game. He trusts Jared Goff. He trusts his players to go and do their job, and they ended up winning the game despite Jared Goff having one of the worst games of his career. That would be the opposite of what we've had in Chicago really for a while, but especially under Matt Eberflus, right? The Bears would always coach scared. They would coach to not lose rather than coach to win, and we saw it cost them many times. So I think getting Ben Johnson in here, a young coach who could really kind of grow with Caleb Williams, design an offense with Caleb Williams, and fully trust him, is definitely an attractive thing for the Bears, and it's attractive thing for the fans as well. To play devil's advocate here, one of my concerns with Ben Johnson is the lack of head coaching experience. He's never been a head coach, and we've seen it with coordinators before. There's been coordinators that have made it, and there's been coordinators who have not made it. Could he be the next Matt Nagy or Matt Eberflus? Matt Nagy obviously brought the Bears to 2 playoff games, but other than that, it was pretty underwhelming, right? And then we saw what happened with Matt Eberflus. So there's always that opportunity for him to not work out as a head coach, right? But I think if you're the Bears, you can't really look at it as what if on either side, right? You can't look at Mike McCarthy and be like, what if he is like John Fox? You can't do that, because what if Mike McCarthy is like Lovie Smith, right? And you can't do that with Ben Johnson. You can't be like, well, what if he is like Matt Nagy and it doesn't work out? What if he is like Sean McVay, right? You never know. So I think the Bears have to go with what feels right. They've got to, you know, it has to be one of these 2 candidates. It has to be one of these 2 candidates. If it's not one of these 2 candidates, I'm going to be furious as a fan. But if it's one of these 2, I'm happy either way. I know that fans are split. There's fans that want McCarthy. There's fans that think hiring McCarthy would be insane. There's fans that want Ben Johnson. There's fans that think hiring, another coordinator is insane, right? So I think the fan base is going to be split on this one. I think that it has to be one of these 2 candidates. If it's someone else, I'm going to lose my mind. But Mike could come in here, turn this franchise around. He has the head coaching experience. But Ben Johnson, doesn't have the head coaching experience, but his ceiling could potentially be higher than Mike McCarthy's. We don't know. My other potential gripe with Ben Johnson is that the roster in Detroit has been constructed very, very well. They built the trenches first. They built the offensive line. They have a top 5 offensive line. Obviously, have the weapons. They got good tight end in Laporta, good receivers, veteran quarterback who's played in the Super Bowl, who's played in the big moments. Those things are important. We don't have a top 5 offensive line in Chicago. Now, over the next couple of years, we could, if Ryan Poles wakes up and decides that that's something that needs to be focused on. It does, but we don't have that right now. So how much of Ben Johnson's offensive success is because they have such a fantastic offensive line? We don't know, and we'll find out, right? But that's my one concern with him, right? Is if he comes here with just an average offensive line, is his offense still going to operate as well as it is in Detroit? We don't know. We'll have to see. But I think both of these candidates are very attractive. I think that they are going to both do great wherever they go, and the Bears have to hire one of them. And if it's not one of these, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be so pissed. But let me know what you guys think down below. Who do you want? Ben Johnson, Mike McCarthy? Do you want someone else? And let me know why down below. I'm curious to know, because everything I see online, the fan base is very, very split. Appreciate you guys listening. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I see 95% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're not subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. It takes just half a second to do so. Helps me grow my channel. I appreciate you guys listening as always. Bear down. Enjoy the divisional round. I will see you guys Monday where we discuss the games. Peace.